Max Tumsime, investor. Wiki Beddings, General. Happy to see all of you. I'm here to answer for an hour. So make sure you follow, you make sure you share, you make sure you ask your question. Ask a business, a financial, a legal, a life question. Newton Kamukama. Joe, we have it. Scovey, nice to see you, friends. How is your Sunday? How is your Sunday? Ask your question in the Q&A. How to go from 0 to 100 in Uganda financially from a humble beginning. This is who I see RI Euro 1. Make sure you follow, then you ask a question. Make sure you follow, then you ask. Was that it actually had figs, yet it didn't have a single fig. What does it mean in our real life? You have a business. Your business might be struggling with loans, but you come and put up a show with an expensive car, a very posh apartment, and you put up a show that you actually have figs, yet you do not have figs. The people outside might be very happy. They might praise you that you have a very nice car, you turn up well, you put up a show well. But deep inside, you know, you're making a lie to yourself. You're lying to yourself. So at the end of the day, you struggle. So friends, we can actually be financially free if we tame our finances. Give yourself a chance to struggle for some good time. Struggle for some good time. Struggle for 6 months. Struggle for a year. Struggle for 2 years. All the people you have met, all the people you admire who have made it, why do they write books and they have a full 5 years of struggle? But for you, you do not want to have 6 months of struggle. You do not want to have 1 year of struggle. How will you write a wealthy story? You get the idea. How will you write a wealthy story? Every wealthy individual, from Jeff Bezos to Bill Gates to all these other people, Wavamuno, Dangote, Charles Mbire, Mandela, all the wealthy people you will admire, whether in Uganda, whether in Asia, they have a full 5 years of struggle. But it is only you who wants to be wealthy without a year of struggle. That's why you put up a show and you're like, let me show that I'm rich. I'm looking for another question. Wise Counsel 5 is saying, happy to see you, the only valid financial coach in Uganda. Others are just storytellers. Thank you very much. Appreciated. Thanks, sir. Can anyone get successful in a business or career when he or she has no full basic needs? I think when you say basic needs, it means that's where you start. Basic needs: food, shelter, clothing. Basic needs: food, shelter, clothing. Provide yourself the basic needs, then go on to acquire these all other strong needs, which are our desires. You must start with the basics. I'm looking for a question. Kojja Butonde agamba sebo we bali kusomesa gwanga. Welcome, sir. Alex Katz. Hello, Professor. Do I buy bonds or I first build? It depends on what you want. It depends. Okay. It's asking, do I first buy bonds or I first build? Now, the question will be, and I will ask you, how much money do you want to put in bonds? And how much money do you want to put in housing? Because you need to understand the 3 lessons about money. The very first lesson is making money. I want you to note that down. The very first lesson is making money. The second lesson is growing money. The third lesson is keeping money. And I'm going to tell you such that you will know how you will know that I've passed the very first lesson, or I understood the very first lesson. So, how do you know that you're making money? You will know that you're making money when you're exchanging time for reward. You're a doctor, you come to the hospital, you sign up, work for a certain number of hours, and you get a salary. You're exchanging time for reward. So there you are making money. Now we advise you that if you're a doctor, if you're an employee, you are a doctor, you're a driver, you're a builder, you're an architect, you're a musician, you're a lawyer, and they pay you by exchanging your time for reward, which comes in form of a salary or wage. We advise you to put aside part of that money you're earning such that you start putting it aside with a goal to grow the money. How do you know you're growing the money? You know you're growing money by selling something. That's why you see the wealthiest people are sellers. You will be hard pressed to find a wealthy person who is not selling. And I have talked to you people and I've told you the richest man in Europe is selling. Is called Bernard Arnault. Is the owner of Louis Vuitton Moet Hennessy. He's selling alcohol, he's selling bags, he's selling perfumes. The richest man in Africa, Dangote, is selling cement. Now he's going to be selling fuel. I think he's working on getting a refinery to be able to sell fuel. The richest man in the world, Elon Musk, they are selling cars, those Tesla cars, they're selling stock, they're selling all these things. The richest man in Asia, you will find them selling things. If you come to Uganda, the richest man you will find, Mbire is selling airtime. Mandela is selling flour, he's selling, Mandela Millers is selling flour. He's selling fuel at City Oil. He's selling food at Cafe Javas. Those are the wealthiest people we have. They are selling something. That is how they make money grows. Because when you purchase at 5,000, you sell at 6,000. Money grows from 5 to 6. So that way, it means you will be able to grow that money. So the idea is usually to ask yourself, I have made money. Have I put it aside to sell something? You can be an employee, but you're buying and selling land. You can be an employee, but you're buying and selling cattle. You can be an employee, but buying shirts and trousers and selling them first to your fellow employees. Who is selling belts, shirts, shoes, perfumes to your fellow employees in that company? Many of you are working in companies which have 500 people, 700 people. You get the idea? So you start by selling. You can sell anything, but the moment you sell, just know you're growing the money. Now, if the money has grown, that's when we start keeping it. When you hear yourself buying land, and that land is not for resale, then it means you're keeping money. When you hear yourself constructing a house and constructing a house not for resale, it means you're keeping money. So the question will be, why do you keep money before growing it? That's why I invented the proverb and I said, tossa sente mutulo nga tonnakola sente ng'oli mutulo. Don't put money in a house to sleep before you actually make money. Before you actually make money while sleeping. I brought that slogan, I brought that proverb in this country. The very first awakening was by me. When people got on board to argue about it, beside it, the initial was from le professeur, the syllabus. So I want to see more people on the live. Call more people. Let's do some sharing. I see only 71 people have shared. Only 71 kind people have shared. So this is the only time I give free advice. So if you're not sharing, it means you're being mean, you're being non-cooperative. So I will only continue if the shares are as many as I see, because I see 272 people on the live on TikTok, but I see only 79, 8. Let's first run up those shares. Let's run up the shares. Let's help each other. Run the shares, like the page, follow the page, share more. As I also look for another question here. Let me see our friends on. Let me see my friends on YouTube. So Isaac Kalulu is saying, I think he's saying I have 20 million, but still fearing because all the money will go. Just scared to be on zero. What can I do? I think it's normal to be scared. It's a very normal thing to be scared. All of us have our fears. Some people fear women, others fear rejection, others fear death, others fear heights. But there are fears which can be classified as rational. A rational fear is when that fear actually helps you survive. But if the fear does not help you with your survival, then it's irrational. And one of the ways to handle fear is to try small doses. Small doses. If you have 20 million and it's the only surviving amount you have, there is no reason you could put all the 20 million in something. Start with a little. Start anything with 1 million. But also expect it to die, because you need to know. Sorry about the kid who is crying. You need to know that the only way a seed germinates, it's by rotting. There is nowhere in the whole entire agriculture sector where a seed will come without rotting. The moment it is called a seed, it has to first rot. It dies. So money you're going to put into a business, look at it as a seed. Look at the money you're going to start a business with as a seed. So the first character is the seed must be small. You can't be expecting to harvest 100 kilos and you start by planting 100 kilos. No. We plant 5 kilos to harvest 100 kilos. Let that first sink in. If you want a harvest of 100 kilos, you can't buy seed of 100 kilos. No. You will have to plant 5 kilos or 10 kilos or 15 kilos such that we get, after some time, a harvest of 100 kilos. So by its definition, seed must be in small quantities. But I do not know why people, when they tell you about a business, you get everything you've saved and you dump into the business. A business is a baby. When I look at my kids, Mercedes and Tesla, I expect them to spoil things. You people who have been following me for quite some good time, you remember when my daughter put the phone in her mouth and she put saliva in the mouth and it stopped charging. That time I think I had an iPhone 11 Pro Max, and my daughter just put it in her mouth, put saliva in, it stopped charging. So that's what kids do. When you give a kid a phone, the kid will just throw the phone. My young boy Tesla, when food landed on his pad, on his tablet, he took it to the bathroom and washed it and spoiled it. For him, he thought he was cleaning the tablet to free it of food. But for him, he thought he was cleaning the tablet, but he spoiled it. So because businesses, when they are started, they are like babies. That's why they kill our money. And they must kill our money. That's why every medicine they write, keep out of reach of children. So when you get the medicine, you put it somewhere up such that the kid does not access it. So when you start a business, it's always good to nurture it. You monitor it. You nurture it. You monitor it such that it doesn't, you help it grow. But you have 50 million Ugandan shillings in savings, and that's the whole entire amount you're starting the business with. Can you imagine? If they tell you that this business is really good, start with something small, something really small, and monitor. Monitor it die, but be happy when it's dead, because every germination begins with death. Even when you're a Christian, Christianity starts with death. Without that death, we have no Christianity. Without death, there is no Christianity. I do not know any successful business that did not start with death. Ask people. I'm into lending. I was into lending. My lending started with death. I'm into land. But I wonder whether you people have heard my story that in 2007, 2008, 2009, 2010, I was the number one person in this country who struggled with fraudsters. They sold me roads. I did not know how to read a title. I did not know how to go on ground. I did not know how to read a survey report. I did not know how to use Lands Office. That's 2006, 7, 8, 9, 10. I had to even run away from this country to go and do a master's to make more money and come back. You know my story. But when I started dealing in land in 2019, it's so hard. It's so hard to run your fraud with me. I know how to transfer. I know how to check land. I know how to read a title. I know how to read the map on the ground. I know how to talk to lands people. I'm a star because of the initial death. So, Isaac Kalulu, I do not want to see you fearing anything. Let me see. Only 131 shares with 241 people. No goddamn way. If you share more, I will answer more questions. Let me see you share. Please share. Do more sharing. Let me see. I'm looking for more questions. Let's do more sharing. People on TikTok, people on Facebook, people on YouTube. Let's do more sharing. So the person who asked, should I put in bonds or should I first build the house? Just know that when you go and put the money in bonds, the rate, if they tell you, the rate will be like 1% in earnings. Have you reached a level to start earning from bonds and treasury bills? Because if I have 100 million in bonds, they will be giving me 1 million per month. So the question is, have you reached that level where when you put aside your 100 million, you can comfortably wait for only 1 million to be earned a month? Or you're still building wealth such that you want more percentage from 100 million, such that later you get into the bonds and the bills and the money markets? I would think you would do the latter, because if I put 1 billion shilling in a unit trust, it gives me 10 million per month, but it's because I've put in a lot of money. You get? So whereas it's possible that you can even start with little in bonds, but you need to check your financial status now. Have you reached that level such that you can relax here and put 10 million in bonds? Or you would want to get a higher percentage by engaging in some other form of other things? So you can get a financial advisor to advise you. The sharing is still very low. You're still at 145. Otis B. John Doro is saying, is money lending still a good business? Absolutely. Money lending is still a very good business, but you need to know what it takes to be a money lender. Money lending is the most earning business in the world. The wealthiest businesses in the world are banks. The wealthiest businesses in the world are banks. Go and read about the 4 banks in China. And it's due to a trick I taught someday. It's called conversion. Conversion. When I lend you money, I give you cash, you return cash. And yet other people, when I give you cash, 1 million, I lend you 1 million, we agree 10% interest. After math, you bring 1 million and 100,000. You have left security worth 2 million. Or you've left security worth 5 million. If you fail to pay and I have a right, we agree to sell off this property, you will realize that the lender who lent 1 million expecting 100,000 Ugandan shillings in interest has gotten an opportunity to find a buyer for the item, which is 5 million. And now the lender is actually either enriching himself more, or if you have agreed and he sells it, he still gets something more than 1.1 million. So the idea is money lending has no conversion, and I'm going to explain conversion. When you go to other businesses, there is an element of conversion. Think about a restaurant. A restaurant has to first buy raw food and convert the raw food by cooking it, and it has to go and purchase raw food, then get a chef and the cooks to convert the raw food into processed food and then get money. So if you're in a restaurant, you have the money, then you release the money in the market to buy raw food and ingredients, convert the money into raw food and ingredients, and then you convert the raw food and ingredients into processed food, which will be sold in that restaurant, such that now you access the money. So that conversion usually takes some good time. Yet in lending, when I say that I've lent you 1 million and the interest is 10%, I will just enter here that that's the interest and I have the asset. So it's like a lender. Money is made when someone borrows. In other words, it's automatic. In other words, it is automatic. So money lending is still a good business, but you need financial advice. You need financial advice on how to lend. You need things like leverage. You need things like background checks. You need a lot of due diligence. You need referrals. You need to be able to value security. But it's a good business, like any other business. I want to promise you, there is no particular business that is better than the others. All businesses have an element of struggle. All businesses follow. There is something they follow. I want to tell you something they follow. First, relax. Let me pick it from the Bible. I want to tell you why every business struggles. I want to tell you why every business must struggle. It's because of the judgment in Genesis. Okay, I want you to listen to Genesis 3:17. And he said to the man, "You listened to your wife and ate the fruit which I told you not to eat. Because of what you have done, the ground will be under a curse. You will have to work hard all your life to make it produce enough food for you. It will produce weeds and thorns, and you will have to eat wild plants. You will have to work hard and sweat to make the soil produce anything until you go back to the soil from which you came from." This is the judgment which we follow every single day. This is why every business, if you go into money lending, expect tears. If you go into bringing things from abroad, there are also some tears. If you go into restaurant business, there are some tears. If you go into exportation, there are tears. If you go into real estate selling land, there are tears. If you go into construction, there are tears. If you start a clinic, there will be tears. If you start a school, there will be tears. So it's not enough that you think, I think these people are enjoying, let me cross over. I think these people are enjoying, let me cross over. You do not cross over thinking the other people are enjoying. Every business has been designed that inherently and intrinsically there is some element of struggle. All right, I'm impressed by the shares. We're at 169. Can we add more shares? Can we add more shares? Friends, this is the only time I give out free financial information. Free. I charge 10,000 Ugandan shillings per minute while I'm at office. So 600,000 per hour. Think about it. 600,000 Ugandan shillings per hour when I'm in office. And when I leave office, when they call me to speak, it's 1 million Ugandan shillings per hour. So this is the only time. Let's invite friends such that they get to listen to the live and pick from what I have shared and tap on it to get it free of charge. All right. Let me look for another question. But I would like to thank you all for being live. I would like to thank you for sharing. I would like to thank you for being a great crowd. Let me see. So Serunjoji Ahmed is asking, what is financial intelligence? So financial intelligence is being able to manipulate money such that at the end of the day, you come out a winner in all things related to money. And you can test someone's financial intelligence. That's why I was there is a day I was talking and I asked people, before you have married, if you're a lady, before you marry a man, before you get married to a man, your pastor will advise you how spiritually he should be. Your parents would advise you how morally the man should be. But I want to I want you to listen to me. I want to give you financial advice. A man should be financially astute. Financial astuteness means the man is financially intelligent. Financial intelligence means a man has now understood how to play with money. He does not get excited buying cars which are expensive, hard to repair, and is calling them assets. He's not having very little money, but still pledging. Financial intelligence and financial astuteness requires you as a woman to look at the man and you see, how is he relating? How is he behaving with the money? All men who are keepers of the money, they will be keepers in the home. A man who does not want money to leave him, by his very nature, he will be a keeper in the house. He will be a keeper in the home. But a man who just wants the money to go by showing off, you could find he has a level of inferiority complex. So he tries to cover up by buying for all the people in the bar. It's not bad to buy for people in the bar, to say, have another round. But how often are you doing it? Are you earning it through your sweat? You get the idea. So if you're a lady and you're looking at the man splashing out money, he might even be splashing out the money on you. For you, you might take the money and think, but if you try to understand his financial stand and you realize he's struggling with the landlord, but he's proposing a vacation, the man is not financially intelligent. And for you gentlemen, I advised you, if you are to go in for a woman, the woman should be financially conscious. Financial consciousness is when someone writes a list of expenditure and then gets a second heart to say, this is too expensive to be paid for food. This is too expensive to be paid for rent. This is too expensive. And they revise the list. So financial intelligence, someone knows how to manipulate money such that they grow the money, then they keep the money, then they do. It's a skill that can be acquired. Many people read books, others get advice, others do all these sorts of things. All right, we are doing so well with the sharing because now we are at 200. Let's share more. And I hope you're following this page because I intend to reserve an hour to be doing these lives to ask the questions. So if you do not follow, how will they notify you that Le Professeur is here? Newton Butelaba, House of Wealth. We've so far done an hour. So Otis is asking, why did God put that bad tree of life and death in the first place? The very fact that he's God, then he can do anything. That is your answer. Usually I have some arguments with my Muslim friends and they tell me God can't give birth. That there was no way God could have given birth to Christ. And I usually just tell them, you realize that if he's God and he can't do something, then you've limited him. So for us as Christians, our God is limitless. If he wants to give birth, you can't stop him. Because he's God, he can give birth, he can put a tree, he can send food from earth, he can part the river, he can stop the sun from shining because he's God. Otherwise, if he stops being God, then he gets limits. But if you have another belief system and that's not your belief system, it should be okay. I'm not trying to convert anyone. It is okay for me to be a Christian and you to be a Muslim and you to be a Buddhist and you to be anything you believe in. A belief system is so important, especially if your belief system has been working for you. If it has been working for you, please continue with it. Don't be converted. Continue with your belief system. I have been in Christianity. It has worked for me, wonder after wonder. I even do not want people to join Christianity because we shall overcrowd God's inbox. So I'm usually happy when I'm among the few Christians. I'm like, if this is Christianity, I do not want to leave. So you might be Muslim and your Islam has worked for you. Please stay there and make sure you do not convert other people. Otherwise, you may crowd God's inbox. All right. Okay. Kim Skill says, I'm your biggest follower from South Africa. Love your words. Thank you very much. I have clients in 90 countries, and I'm so happy that I am global. So please make sure you're following the page. Make sure you are following the page such that anytime I'm live, I'll come. We shall be continuing to do the short skits of how high love. You know how they run. We shall continue to do them because right now I'm done with studies. By the way, you've been listening to an advocate for a full hour. 4 degrees. You've been listening to a guy with 4 degrees and a diploma in legal practice. Ain't that a thing? Okay, besides rent, unit trust, treasury bills, and bonds, what other options for investments? The options for investments depend. Remember, if you're thinking about investment, it means you're thinking usually short, medium, long. Most investments bring money in the long term. The actual money, the actual big money really comes in the long term. That's why investors invest in patience first. First of all, to be an investor means you have money which is aside. That's what it means. And to be an investor, it means you have some money on the side. Now you're looking for options. How do you have money on the side? By saving. So I usually hear people saying, do not save. How will you be termed as an investor? How will you be called an investor? You can only be called an investor by having money aside. By having money aside for investment. Now, think about it. You will think about things you will put money in such that you wait. You must be able to differentiate a business from an investment. When we do a business, it means we are going to put money into a running system. I'm trying to differentiate between a business and an investment. When you put money in a business, it means you have put money in a running system and you start demanding the system for the money, which might come as profit. Notice that in a business, usually a business is run by people. But because you first put up a system the people are running a system to give you the profit as the owner of the business. So it means I can change. Imagine this is my business and these are the people. So this might be the person in charge of the person in charge of finance, person in charge of marketing, person in charge of sales, person in charge of operations, person in charge of human resource. Because a business must be a system making me money, I can change, I can fire, I can hire more. because I'm running a system. When we go to investments, investments are not systems. In investments, I only want to hear two things. What is the entry? Where is the exit? If I put 100 million, when I'm coming out, how much am I coming out with for that particular period? That's why you can be an investor, and today you invest in treasury bills. Next year, you invest in bonds. The other year, you invest in real estate. The other year, you invest in money markets. But you realize that that's not how a business runs. For a business, you have that particular system. What do I mean by a system? You've organized the way to earn money by purchasing things, either adding value to those things, letting people know that you have the value, you let people know, then you sell. So when you purchase things, it means you have an idea, you add the value to the idea, which would mean you might process, which would mean you might manufacture. Then you let people know by marketing. You let people know by marketing, either on social media. You let people know by marketing. Then after marketing, you sell. After selling, you collect the money. When you collect the money, you can hire more employees or increase on the raw materials. Then you save. Then you do the mathematics and you get a profit. You see the system. In a business, we are running a system. The system is buying products, adding value, letting people know you exist. Then you sell. Then after selling, you deduct the cost of goods sold. What remains? What will remain? Gross profit. You deduct operating expenses. You have a net profit. That is a system. That is a business. But in investment, that's not what we are doing. In investment, because we already have the money, we send the money on a mission. So we call up and ask. We find people who already have systems in form of businesses, and we ask them, you already have that business. If I gave you this money, how much? If I gave you this money, that is entry. If I'm leaving, exit, how much will you give me? And they will tell you 10% after a year. This percentage after 2 years. The percentage goes on growing as you stay in there. So what that really means is the moment you're able to differentiate them, you'll be good to go. What do you want? The phone? Okay. All right. So Jogitharai, have I pronounced that well? He's saying, talk of value chain and supply chain. Had you right? Yes. So usually I can differentiate between a supply chain and a value chain. So let's first of all think about value chain and supply chain. What do they have in common? Chain. What is a chain? A string of things that are following each other. Love, do you have a chain? A chain is a string of things that are following each other. So when we say value chain, it means things are following each other from 0 value to 1 to 2 to 3. But as we go through the whole entire string, value is increasing. That's why we call it a value chain. Now, okay. Now, this is a chain. So, if this is to be considered, let me try to first open it. Emma, is it openable in any way?
It's already open.
It's
already open.
No, I thought I could flip it such that it's I Eh, no. As in like,
It's free.
it's free. It's not tied already because I want to make a demonstration. Okay. Let me demonstrate to them. So let's say if this were to be a value chain, then let's think about maize seed. So we would start here and call this a seed. So we add value to the seed by planting it. We've gone ahead in the chain. After planting the seed, we shall weed. We have added value by weeding. After weeding, we shall harvest. When we harvest seed, when we harvest the crop, we have added value to the crop. We are in the value chain. After harvesting the maize, we shall dry the maize. We have added value by drying the maize. After drying the maize, we shall take it to the milling machine and convert the maize into posho. So we have added value. It started as a seed. It was planted. After planting it, we weeded. After weeding, we harvested. After harvesting, we dried. After drying, we have milled. When we mill, we have added value. After milling, we package. We put it in a pack. We have added value because a posho in a pack is better than posho that is unpacked. So after packing, we add value. Now we get it from the village where there is a milling machine to the city. So when we transport it, we add value to the posho. Because posho where there is no market has less value. It has more value where there is a market. So when we put it on the van, on the truck to bring it to the city, we have added value. So when we transport it to the market, we sell it in the market. We have now added value to the posho. It started as a seed, it was planted, it was weeded, it was harvested, it was dried, it was milled, it was packed, it was transported, now it is being sold. Now, when a restaurant owner buys the posho and goes and prepares it, he has added value. We are in the value chain. Now, after adding value by preparing it, they will put it on a plate in a restaurant. When you eat it, the very last thing, we started here. When you eat it, which is the very last thing, you add value. Otherwise, if you do not eat it, then it means you won't pay for it. So this is the whole entire value chain. Now, for supply chain, you would still be moving with the chain, but just thinking about how the supply comes from the source to the transport, to the clearing, to the what, till the things reach the warehouse. That is the whole entire thing about supply chain. I hope that helps you demystify some of these things. We have so far gone into 16 minutes. Let me see if I can. Let's see. Roseworks says, "Wow, thank you." I hope you followed this page because the learning will be here. Please follow this page because the learning will be here. Follow the YouTube. Follow our YouTube. Subscribe on our YouTube. Follow the TikTok. Follow. Let me see. Follow and like. We are on 215 shares. Thank you very much for sharing. Prissy is saying, I was the first to ask about bank insurance. Now, I do not know. First, help me with my phone. I want to check out something. Just a moment. I have a question here. So, Prissy, when you asked So, Prissy, I want you Roy is asking, why don't we have flyers on when you be live on TikTok?
Work on it. This is our first live. I take it, but we're going to work on it.
What would be a flyer?
Isn't the one we put up?
Roy, we put up a poster. Honorable Roy, we put up a poster. Would that be the flyer he's talking about?
I think so.
We actually put up a poster that I will be live on TikTok.
But TikTok doesn't really push this.
But I think TikTok doesn't push it very well, I should presuppose. What's wrong with my internet?
Which one? This thing is disturbing, eh? I have to even come and buy for this one, but you're totally off.
Yeah, I was off.
Totally. Try it now.
Let me see.
I'm
Well, let me try to get to
No.
my other internet. But it's saying no connection. Let me see. It doesn't.
This thing. Scam.
It's a sellout. Okay. Let me see what I can do here. Where is my iPhone?
It's right in front.
It's the one I'm using. Okay. Just a moment. Just a goddamn moment. But what's the score anyway?
Leave that one, please.
First tell me, they could be beating my
They
team
beat
here.
you. They beat you already.
It's over.
No, it's half time now. 1-0. Now you don't think about the football. You talk to the people.
No. I'm talking to the people, but it will also be good to know.
So correct. Leave the team right now. For now. These people are asking questions. Please respond.
So, Prissy. I just want to make sure I understand your question well. So, Prissy asked what's something to do with bank insurance, because there are two forms of bank insurance. There is when we have the bank insure the money we have given it. For example, in Uganda, we have what they call a deposit protection fund, where if a bank is to be closed, our money is insured up to 10 million Ugandan shillings. Or there is what they call bank assurance, where the bank is now selling the insurance, where it sells life insurance, health insurance, those things. So I would need to know probably the country you're in, and the kind of products they are giving you, whether because for insurance purposes you just have to analyze your situation. For example, if you're to get life insurance, then it means you're telling the insurer that in the unexpected event when you die, then the people you've mentioned as beneficiaries will be the ones to benefit. If it's not life insurance and it's medical insurance, then it means you're telling the bank in the likely event that I fall sick, then the money I'm paying either on the monthly or on the yearly basis or on a quarterly basis, the bank should be using that to look after you medically. So I usually tell people that before you even go to these to these organizations like a bank, you can be your own bank. If you put your own money aside, you could borrow from your savings. You could be your own bank. You can also be your own insurance. If you put money aside and you say, the goal for this money I'm putting aside is to look after me when I'm sick, then you are your own insurance. If you say, I have a car, but in Uganda, we buy old cars. Cars usually break down, so I'll be using this money to repair the car. Then it means you're your own insurance. So if you go into a habit and a culture of saving and saving and saving, then it means you will be able to be your own insurance. Let me see. Someone said, compare between a unit trust fund and the Sure Deal insurance fund plan. I've already talked about the general knowledge you might want out of that. I took out a prudential insurance in Equity Bank for 5 years with hope to get interest after 5 years. All right, please try to run it through to see how much you will get. Mulunji Nana, did I get your question? How can... So, Kasoma is saying, Professor, most startups fail within the first year of operation. How can we survive while succeeding? No, as in, startups will always fail. And I've told you to expect the failure. The key is to ensure that you've minimized the failure. So how do you minimize the failure? By number one, getting financial advice. Number two, looking for someone who has already done the kind of business you're into, and that person takes on a form of mentorship with you, such that they keep telling you how they did it, and you try to emulate how they are doing it. So the idea is, Lieutenant Kome Imran Chigongo is asking about okay. Don't worry, Imran. I'm going to answer you. Let me first answer Kasoma. So I can start. How can we survive while succeeding? We survive by taking calculated risks. So if I'm going into a business and they have told me that buying and selling goats is a very good business, then I won't start with a lot of money. I'll start with money that is little. I will fail. I'll start with more money. I'll fail. Then next year, I bring in more money. The idea is not to start with all the money. We have very many people who go in the diaspora and they make their money in what we call cheo. And then when they come, you see them using all the money they made in cheo. If I landed here with 20 million Ugandan shillings, and they tell me buying and selling goats is viable, then I'll just come with 1 million and start by buying 5 goats and selling them. So if that business fails in the very first year, I still have 9 million because I've only used 1. So in the next year, I will use another 1 million. Perhaps the other time the business failed because I bought sick goats, or I failed to go to the abattoir. I failed to go to abattoir where I would sell, or I used wrong transport. Those are the things you must master. So because it takes some time to master them, that's why businesses fail. Now, the very biggest mistake is when the business fails, the person who started takes off, they run away. Yet now they have graduated. You have graduated you must pick lessons and move forward. but people just, you see them starting up something new, then it also fails. So you find someone in 5 years, they have done 5 failed businesses, yet they needed to start with calculated risks, pick advice, get a financial advisor, get a mentor who has done this business, and they be advised, they risk some little money. You will lose, but you lose little. That's how it runs. So Imran saying, talk about Duke in Altum, refresh the lessons there. I remember it's a motto. So Duke in Altum is our motto in, what is it?
No, as people are like, they're saying you have full, so I was trying to,
They're saying me halfway.
on the YouTube side. TikTok is fine, on the YouTube side, so I was trying to. You continue.
Okay. So Duke in Altum is Duke in Altum is our motto in St. Mary's College. So it's Latin for launch in the deep. So launch in the deep is when Jesus met the disciples. I think it's in Luke 5:4. Let me check here. Luke 5:4. That's when Jesus is telling them to launch in the deep. Luke 5:4. Luke 5:4. Luke 5:4. Matthew, Mark, John, Luke. Luke here. Luke 5:4. Luke. Luke 5:4. Okay. So Jesus is telling the disciples in Luke 5:4. When he finished speaking, he said to Simon, push the boat out further to the deep water, and you and your partners let down your nets for a catch. So they told him that they had spent the whole entire time without catching fish. And he told them to launch their nets in the deep. I want you to notice the lessons in there. He did not tell them to change the lake. He did not tell them to change the boat. He did not tell them to leave fishing to go into farming. He did not tell them to change employees. He told them to stay in the same lake, on the same boat, using the same net and the same employees in the same business, which was fishing. But now the different setting, they should launch in the deep. We can abstract it to pick what it actually means. It would mean that you understand deeper the kind of business you're doing. If you had known just on the top, launch in the deep to understand. You've been dealing in goats. Understand the diseases of goats such that they can no longer sell you sick goats. Understand the better days where they are buying goats. When I was dealing in cattle and goats, I remember I used to make a lot of money during EDL Fitri. EDL Fitri is when they are EDL Adoha is when they are slaughtering animals. When they are slaughtering animals, people who are selling cattle, people who are selling goats, they are making a kill. So you need to know around that schedule. You need to know the season, the time when they are cutting animals. That's when you also purchase your goats. So launching in the deep means to know about that business, know the suppliers, know the location, know what the customers want, know the better employees, know how to sell, know how to keep the margins, know how to keep records. You are launching in the deep. It's like when you try to wake me up at 3 a.m. in the morning and you talk about money lending. I know it's like the back of my hand. You wake me up at 3 a.m. in the morning and you talk about buying and selling land. I know it. I've launched in the deep. Over 5 years of study in law. I know about lending and land and real estate. I know it in the deep. So I've dealt in it. So launch in the deep, that's what it would mean.
Someone has asked, when a 35-year-old man decides to leave suffering abroad and return home to use his skills, is it a failure? He's called
It's a-
Soil to Home.
Soil to Home is saying when a 35-year
Old decides to leave suffering abroad and return home to use his skills. Is it failure?
No. First of all, you can only fail, and I want you to take it from me, friends. You can only fail if you have been examined by a particular examiner. Someone gives you an exam, you attempt it, and then they try to grade you and they say you have failed. You cannot let people be the ones to tell you that you have failed, yet they did not give you the exam. Is it people who sent you abroad? If people did not send you abroad, then they cannot call you a failure. They cannot purport to be examiners such that they can say that you failed, yet you did not, they did not set the exam for you. You can only try to set your own goals. And when you set a goal and you achieve it, then it is success. For example, if I set a goal that I will leave Cheyo at 35 years, and I leave Cheyo, and I leave working in the diaspora when I'm 35 years, I'm successful. If I set...
It's fine. This is it.
No, let me see. How about that? If I set a goal to buy a small car, and you set a goal, if I set a goal to buy a Toyota car, and you set a goal to buy a Benz, and I buy my Toyota car, I'm successful because I've achieved the goal. If you buy your Benz, you are also successful, but your side, not in my definition. The definition of success is to set a goal and achieve the goal. And remember, we are going in different directions.
Another one?
So we cannot actually compete.
There's one that says, what's the difference between good debt and bad debt? That's on YouTube. He's called Ahmed.
So you can only know that you have good debt if the money you borrowed is actually to make more money. If you borrowed money and you're going to put it in things that do not bring you more money, then it's bad debt. You've borrowed to go on holiday. It's bad debt. You've borrowed to finance a wedding. Bad debt. The wedding is good, but the money you borrowed, the debt you got is bad debt. Don't confuse the two. If you borrow to buy a car and the car is for driving, the buying of the car is good, but the debt is bad, because the debt will only be good if it has been borrowed to bring you more money. And the moment you reach that level of being able to differentiate them, you'll be amazed at how wealthy you will grow. So bad debt, you've borrowed, but the money you've borrowed won't bring you more money. Good debt, you've borrowed, and the money you've borrowed will bring you more money. So 35 is a very good age to start, to really start. Very good age to start. I know of people who have started at 40. So 35, I usually tell people that from 18 to 35, make sure you've made the biggest mistake you will ever make from 18 years to 35 years is to reach 36 years when there is a mistake you haven't made. So people who do not make mistakes between 18 to 35, they're in big trouble.
Another one, Tendo Josephine, YouTube. She's called Tendo Josephine on YouTube. She says, how should ownership and profits be divided when one person invests financially and the other person does all the work and manages the business?
You can only share profits after negotiating with the individual, such that you get a picture before even profits come. Have that form of agreement with an individual that you are going to put in this money in this business, but I will only be able, we can share 10% of profits or 20% of profits, and then you're transparent. But you can also do it the Islamic way, where I see in Islam they wait on the success of the venture before they actually demand for you to share to repay the loan. So I usually ask people that if you're going to go into a partnership with anyone, make sure you can agree on the sharing before you are even angry, because later the business will create opportunities where you guys are fighting. If you did not agree on how to share when you're still friends and laughing, you will struggle to agree on how to share when you people are fighting. So it's always good to agree from the word go. In law, we use the Latin term ab initio, from the onset.
There's this question. How can I grow my career from one level to another?
How can you grow your career from one level to another? By
Jamil Chisiri, YouTube.
By being of value. You can grow your career from one level to another by making sure that you're being hands-on, you're being of value, by understanding the field you're in. When you understand the field you're in and you associate with people who have because in every field, they are masters. You people are following me here in 2026. But would you believe that I started this in 2008? Would you believe if I told you that I started teaching money, talking to people in 2008? A full 16 years of mastery. So by the time you've just known me here in 2026, you are 18 years late. You get what I'm saying? So in 2008, I was on a crusade with Queen Helen Butai and Bishop Frank Butai, and we could move to villages, to towns, to churches, teaching money. I was only teaching money. So I learned about money. I did business. I was lending. So I got the experience, then I got the book work, then I was interacting with wealthy people. At the end of the day, when I say that when you come to see me, it's 1 million if I'm speaking to people, it's 600,000 when I'm speaking to you. I've earned it. So it will take some time, but you are digging the same hole deeper,
Okay, there's one here called Samuel.
Be a bit louder.
There's one here called Samuel. He says, please talk about rice. Wait. Professor, my question is, talk about produce business, rice, maize, flour.
No, they should learn how to ask questions. Well, good, very good. So, what can I talk about produce
Samuel,
business?
yeah, shed more light in the comments.
Because the question is vague.
He's talking about shop kinda.
What do you want to
Retail.
know? What do you
Retail,
want?
maybe, and wholesale.
Let him be the one.
Okay.
What do you want to know about produce business? How to enter into it, how to sell it, how to make money out of it, how to jump out of. What do you want to know about produce business?
Then there's one we say, so talk about the hype of forex trading. Talk about the hype of forex trading.
I don't encourage people to engage in forex trading, personally. If you want to go there for learning purposes. Go there in forex trading, then you will tell me. But I never want to. I usually tell people, Personally, when I'm investing, I have to make sure I can explain the venture I'm entering to my 5-year-old daughter and she understands it. So I'm into real estate. If I told her I sell land such that people build houses to sleep in, she will understand it. I have understood real estate to that level. But imagine me explaining forex trading to my daughter. She'll be like, but what's that? But so you try to ask yourself, can you explain forex trading to your 5-year-old daughter? Okay. If you can explain forex trading to your 5-year-old daughter, it means you have understood its ins and outs and you're the right person to deal in it. If you try to recruit more people to go into forex trading, I would encourage them to first ask themselves, have they understood it to a level that they can explain it to their 5-year-old sons and daughters?
There's a question here that says they're asking you to differentiate between two different unit trusts. Should I mention that companies?
Mm-hmm. Okay. That would be me trying to do adverts for the different companies doing unit trusts. Just know that a unit trust is when they collect money from the wealth individuals and they collect it as a unit. Mm-hmm. And it's called a trust because trust is a legal term. If I am to die, I can create a trust where my property will be run by people they call trustees for the benefit of my kids. The trustees don't own the property, the kids don't own the property, but the kids benefit from the property. And the trustees, who are people I've left, I could leave my spouse, my dad, my lawyers, and my best friend to be trustees. So a unit trust, these people have collected money from the wealthy people and collected it as a unit, and they are holding it in trust because they have to invest it on our behalf. That's why they call it a unit trust.
Okay, then customer says, why are some people more successful than others? What is the secret?
There are very many things why some people are more successful than others. But the question is, what would success be anyway? Because I've told you here, if I set out to buy a Subaru and you set out to buy a Benz and I collect my money and I buy a Subaru, I am successful because I set a goal and I have achieved it. Don't go into the marathon, the thought process of people thinking that if you have bought a Benz, for example, I love Benzes, but I do not consider people on the road who are not driving Benzes not successful. What if they wanted to buy their Subaru? What if they wanted to buy their Wish? If you set a goal and that goal is to buy a Wish, that goal is to buy a Vitesse, that goal is to buy a Subaru, and you achieve it, you are successful. If I set a goal, for example, you remember I did a live and I set a goal to buy an S-Class. You remember, you guys who have been following me for some good time. I was on a Facebook live and I set a goal to buy an S-Class. I later got the money, bought an S-Class. I am successful. You cannot find me and say, you're driving an S-Class, you're not driving a Cybertruck, you're not successful. Who tells you?
But you have to buy a Cybertruck because of Tesla.
Yeah, I will set it as a goal because my son is called Tesla. I'll set it as a goal and I'll buy a Cybertruck. But I will not allow people who have bought a Rolls Royce, who have bought Bentleys, and say that I'm not successful. So success is defined by you setting a goal and achieving it. Now, let me also try to understand your question where you say, why are some people successful and not successful and others not successful? I think you're bringing that question from the lens that why are some people having some money and others not having money? It is to do with a lot of things. Number one, Jeremiah 1:5. God says he knew us from before we formed in our mother's womb. Then you read it together with Jeremiah 29:11. Jeremiah 29:11, God says, I am the only one who knows the plans I have for you, and the plans are for success And also, help me with my phone. And also, so who is crying?
Maxwell.
Hey. So if you read Jeremiah 1:5, it says, I knew you before you formed in your mother's womb. So God knew us before we formed in our mother's wombs. Then he goes on in Jeremiah 29:11 to say, I alone know the plans I have for you, and they are for prosperity. So it means there is going to be a time when you are because we're not moving at the same level. There is going to be a time when for you have been designed that you will be wealthy in 2030, and you'll be seeing people who were designed, who were created to be wealthy in 2025, and you say, wow, I think these people are ahead of me. No, they are not ahead of you. You just haven't reached what you would call your harvest season. Just keep planting, just keep planning, just keep improving, just keep elevating. In any case, if you read the 94th chapter in the Holy Quran, and you read ayat, I think ayat 5 to 6, the Holy Quran is saying, with hardship comes ease. So as you're struggling now, Allah is saying, with hardship comes ease. With hardship comes ease. So you do not have to worry. Keep pushing.
People's questions, for asking questions that favor them. They're not asking questions that. But anyway, here goes.
No, it's okay. They can be selfish with the question.
Okay.
In any case, it's their data and phone.
Okay. Blessing Douglas says, is joint partnership healthy in real estate? How can we do it for the better of both partners?
Ask the question again, but raise the voice.
Okay. Is joint partnership healthy in real estate? How can we do it for the better of both partners?
Everywhere I've been, I've realized joining hands is the best way. But you need to first know, when do they do a partnership? Before you even think about joint partnership or anything, the question is, when do they partner? Someone should be a partner if they're bringing these three things. They're either coming on board to bring money, which you don't have, or they're coming on board to bring a skill you don't have, or they are coming on board to bring a network of connections to sell to, which you don't have. I don't want you to tell me that you are getting a partner on board and you all have money. What kind of partnership is that? So you all have money but lack skill. You did not help yourself. It's called a synergy. You use each other's strength. I have the money, you come on board with people with the market connections we shall sell to. I have the land, you bring on board people we shall sell to. I have the money, or I have the skill. We are starting up a restaurant and I'm a chef. If I'm a chef, I do not have to come with money. I'm a chef, for you come with money to pay rent and buy the food and buy the utensils.
Well, I'm doing the rest of
That's a partnership. But we do our partnerships wrong. We are all wealthy individuals, we have money, we start a partnership in a restaurant. Then we are just going to be arguing and arguing. So a joint partnership will always be good, but you have to make sure that as you do the partnership, you're trying to have your merging strengths. Someone is strong in money, you're strong in skills, you merge. Someone is strong in the network connection for people we shall sell to. For you, you are strong in having the product. You merge. That's why joint partnerships will work, and you agree on the sharings. You write out something, you call a lawyer on board. The moment it's going to be a business, involve a lawyer. People start these businesses and you calculate the value, and the business is worth 200 million, but they couldn't pay 2 million for a lawyer to draft a partnership deed. What a shame.
Shona, Samuel has responded. One had asked about produce. He
Yes.
says, I would like to start up a wholesale produce importing
Yes.
rice from Tanzania and
Yes.
other dry food. Kindly highlight on this business.
You see why it was good to ask him what he really wants. Now imagine he wants produce, but even his produce is not in Uganda. He's going to import. The very first thing you want to go for. Actually, you've asked a very good question.
It's called Samuel Mbarusha.
I was involved in a case where I read that agricultural produce does not pay a certain kind of tax. I will have to review that case, but the people we are dealing with, the case was a lot of money. It was in hundreds of billions. The people, they were rice importers who imported rice, and they were very many. But when they imported rice, the revenue body, Uganda Revenue Authority, charged them, I think, import duty. And yet the law was clear that anything agriculture from the East African community was not supposed to pay at that time. And these people combined all their effort, and the money is in hundreds of billions. I wonder whether the case has been decided or not, but I will check. But what I would like to tell you is, first get to know the supply chain. How will you source? Who is your supplier in Tanzania, and at what price are they supplying? Then get to know, how will you transport from Tanzania to Uganda? What would be the cost of transport? After knowing the cost of transport, ask whether there is any element of tax as it crosses the border. After that, ask yourself, how much will you sell the rice that is from Tanzania? How do you know? You go to Chikubo, you go to all these places, you will find people importing from TZ. Check how much are they selling a kilo. And before you even go to Tanzania to import, can you first try to deal in rice in Uganda, such that you get to know the different ways rice is dealt with? That's how you will get to know. The moment, what was his name?
Samuel.
Exactly. Samuel. First start with easy things. Start with dealing in rice in Uganda. You go, rice in Uganda. I think I found people growing rice in Noya. I found people growing rice. Where else do we grow rice? I think it's, I'm forgetting the places, but I found some people growing rice, that part of, a place called Noya. It's one of the most fertile places in this country. But the idea is, when you deal in rice, which is in Uganda, the people you supply will start, you said his name is?
Samuel Mbarusha.
So people will start serving you as Samuel Rice. The moment they start serving you as Samuel Rice, the day you start importing, you just say, they will be knowing you that you are the best rice seller. So you'll be telling them, I sold you this rice and also this rice. I sold you this rice, now I have this one. This one is even from TZ. And the selling will be very easy. Love, I think we've given them enough. It's
Can we
it's
just
2
do
minutes.
2 more questions?
No way.
Okay, just one. This person is asking, what is the one money habit that changed your life personally?
You want to be wealthy.
Yes.
The one money habit
That changed your life personally.
that changed
The person is called, uses the under the name Oriflame Skincare and Perfumes on TikTok.
There, he's cheating the exam by asking the examiner. All right. I will tell you, friends, one of the greatest things I think I do is I'm a great seller. When I sell, it is so hard for people to say no. I can understand the product and I explain what the product will do to the person. When I see people these days selling land, you will be amazed, but I was the first Ugandan to go on land sites with titles. Did you know? You didn't know. To go on a land site with titles and explain the distance from the tarmac, to explain the distance in seconds and minutes from the tarmac to the site. Sending Google pins, sending short videos, sending the time structure for the land. Now everyone is doing it. So the one money habit that actually helped me, that changed my life, I should say, is honesty. And followed it with selling. Honesty. Because I coupled the honesty in the selling. When I could tell the person that this is a 50 by 100, it is on the hill, it is by the roadside, it is this distance. Honesty. So in your dealings, I see very many Ugandans very happy with blood money, very happy with stolen money, very happy with corruption. But I just laugh because that money can't survive. You read Ecclesiastes 2:26. When you see people too much in corruption, it's because of Ecclesiastes 2:26. And let me read it for you, such that you get to know the money habits which I've mentioned that changed my life: honesty and selling. So
this guy, before you about concluding, Mahad Mindset, one of your good followers, he has asked that, Professor, you sell land. Why is that you only sell land, yet you say other ventures are also good?
I did not get the question.
It was on YouTube. I kind of messed up, but what he was trying to say was, when you're talking about the things you sell, you mostly specify the land. I sell land. Then he says, why does Professor only invest in land, yet you believe in other assets, classes, and
No. What you need to know is the challenge is when we call you for master classes, you don't come. When we called you for It's Possible conferences, you didn't come. But I told you, friends, we are in the jungle. Go and watch Nat Geo World. In the jungle, the one who gets out the head is the one who loses their life. What you will never see me tell you all my businesses. You will never see me show you all my buildings. You will never see me mention where all my wealth is, because we're in the jungle. You get the idea? So I come here and only mention one, land.
and it's enough.
So some people there was a time when I used to teach money and people would say, where is your money? Where is your arcade? And I was laughing. But I have a footprint in most of these different things: unit trusts, property, real estate, rentals, business ventures.
Stop there.
So I will stop there.
Stop there.
I can't mention, because if you know, let me tell you something in law. In law, okay, let me bring it where it starts from. When you play a game called Cash Flow Quadrant. So Cash Flow Quadrant, people all start in the rat race. But when you skip the rat race and you become wealthy, you will only lose money 3 times. You will lose money when they take you to court. You will lose money when you divorce. And you will lose money when the taxman points a finger at you. So have you heard? Tax, divorce, court. Now, the wealthy people abroad, they always make sure they avoid those 3. They avoid the divorce or the thing that come with it. They avoid the taxman, and they avoid being taken to court. That's why I did law. Now, in law, when they take you to court and you lose a case, the person who has won you gets the fruit, the harvest from the case. We call it gaining the fruits of the harvest is called execution. In execution, they can attach your property. They can attach your property. When you lose a case and the judge says you should pay this person so and so this much of money, when the person who has won you starts execution, they start attaching. They can go to the bank and ganshi if you have money there. To ganshi money is when they tell the bank to hold on to your money. So imagine if people got to know where you bank money. When they're executing, they would know what to execute. Imagine you have cars which have your name. When they're executing, they will attach your cars. Imagine they know your property, they know your buildings. When they do not know your cars, when they do not know your houses, when they do not know your property, when they do not know where you bank, they can never attach. I've told you that for free. Newton Butera, the House of Wealth. We shall
be going live, I think, twice. Once, eh?
When you say twice, what do you mean, Mom?
A month.
Okay, we will. The idea is if people follow, I mean, every time I'm live, they will see.
Okay.
But I would like to thank you. I would like to thank you. You've been an incredible group of people. Let me see.
What's the best book you ever read?
I can't read a single book. I read 66 books there in the Bible. And I also read very many books which are in the Holy Quran. Let me see. Okay, I think the next session, the next time we do another live, I'll start by trying to answer this where someone says, how can they get a side hustle on a salary? I've noted somewhere.
We're going to do a video on that one.
But then I'll explain it also in length in a live. How to get a side hustle on a salary. You've been great people. I love you all. Please share the live. Follow the channel. Subscribe on YouTube. May the good Lord keep blessing you. I wish you the best in all your endeavors. I see Catherine Roda. I see Dr. Guti, Derek Webb, Speller, Charles Cheptab Gamadam. She's in South Sudan. Cheptab, I love you all. Kasozi Ada Senior, Mat Services, The Nation, Phillips Lutaya Wendira Ngonge Nganze, Fena tuli bazzukulu ba Kisolo, Supreme Forex Academy, Bukenya Jaman, My Silver Lining Lifestyle, Rosie Wax, Kestal Whitzil, Mat Services, Dr. Guti, Sony, Lutankome Imran, Ogwao Solo, Ashaba Derek, Safari Bernard, Omulangira, Oriflame Skincare Perfumes, New World, Nalongo, Tony, Who else? Janet Kasoma, Elijah, Catherine Rhoda. Who else?
Rita Nachiganda.
They're on YouTube.
No, she's on TikTok.
She's on TikTok. Rita Nachiganda. Nachiganda is also up. That's the same totem I have.
Are you serious? And she's
Nachiganda is Mong.
And she's your student.
Successful. Justin Melanin. The boy Haidari. Here they show me that you're following, but people who have not followed, it's a shame. Robert Bob, man of the match, planned by I am Rita Nachiganda, Jean Soul, Sammy Beauty, Margaret. All right, I want to wish you the very best. Let me see the people on YouTube. Serun George Ahmed Agaba, Serun George Ahmed Agaba, Solomon Makonke, Jemo Matovu, Mbarusha Samuel, Nandutu Brenda Wabutwa, Tracy Taylor. Others have used art at PCV. Ivan Chirunda, Mokachi, Shika. All right, Angel, Isaac Kalulu, Aisha, Tendo Josephine, may the good Lawrence, Richard, John Mary, may the good Lord bless you. I love you all. Bye-bye.